Hello everyone, this is Mrs. Elkins. I'm just going to help you a little bit with your work today, making this video to explain the notes part for you. Also, I'm going to put in Schoology another video number 2, that will help you with your actual homework. So if you get started on your homework and it's not making sense or you don't remember what to do, please watch the second video and it will explain the homework questions for you, or at least the odd ones, so that should be enough to help you get through it. So let's get started here. We're talking about the difference between direct and inverse variation. Direct variation is a set of ordered pairs with a constant ratio. The ratio is constant. Every y value divided by every x value will give you the same number. Okay? As opposed to inverse variation. An inverse variation is a set of ordered pairs with a constant product. Okay, so every x times every y will give you the same answer, the same value. So that's the difference. One's division, one's multiplication. In equation form, direct variation looks like this. Y equals kx, and k is y divided by x. All right. In inverse variation, the equation would always look like this. Y equals k divided by x, and that'll be the opposite. X times y will give you the k value. So that's totally the opposite. Some examples of equations that are direct variation, it can be something like y equals 4x. Or it could be something like y equals 3/5 x. Or it could even be something as simple as y equals negative x. All of those are examples of direct variation. Indirect variation is written as a division problem. So you might see something like y equals 5 divided by x, or 5 over x. Or you can see something like y equals negative 3 over x. Or y equals 7 over x. So those are just some examples of how those two equations are written differently. On a graph, they will look extremely different because, as you might remember, when we graph direct variation, those equations always made a straight line that passes through the origin. Now, it could be a negative slope, it could be a positive slope, it could be a very high, steep slope or a very low slope. But if it passes through the origin, it's direct variation. It could look like this. Could be even a negative slope that's not real steep. That's still going to be considered a direct variation. Why? Because it passes through the origin. Well, sort of. I'm trying to make this perfect, but I'm not perfect. Okay? Now, what we learned yesterday, the graph of inverse variation is not straight lines. It's a curved line, and it'll look something like this. Could be anywhere on the graph, but it's going to be curved instead of straight, and it's not going to go through the origin. Reason being is you can't multiply anything but 0 and get 0. Okay, so those are the differences in the graphs. So how do you test for it? If you're testing to see if it's direct variation, you need to do one and only one thing. You need to check y divided by x for each ordered pair. Okay, so if you're checking for direct variation, you divide every y by its x, I should say, for every ordered pairs. Check all of them, don't just check 1 or 2. How do you test for inverse variation? In the inverse variation, you check x times y for each ordered pair. Don't just check some, check them all. Okay, so make sure you check all of them and not just one or two. Every x times every y equals the same number, that's your k, and that's an inverse variation. If every x or every y divided by every x gives you the same number, then that is your k, and it's a direct variation. If you're finding missing values, you need to remember that because direct variation is proportional, it can be set up as a proportion with each y divided by each x set equal to every other y divided by its x. So if you have direct variation, here's a key word, varies directly as x. If y varies directly as x, find y. And we have the ordered pair 8, negative 12, and 20y. The y values go on top, negative 12 over positive 8 should always equal y divided by 20, because I've got that. Y is on top and the x is on bottom. Remember, to solve every proportion, you cross multiply and divide. So I'm looking for y, so I'm going to multiply 8 times y to set this up as a linear equation. And then negative 12 times 20 would give me negative 240. Divide both sides by positive 8. The missing number, y, is negative 30. Now that's just the y. That is not the k. If you were to write this as an equation, you would have to find k by multiplying negative 12 times 8, or negative 30 times 20. That would give you your k to write the equation. Okay? So the next one, this one is, again, keyword, if y varies inversely as x, find x. Okay, that means each y times each x is going to give me the same number. So this is just as easy to solve. I can solve this by multiplying the y's times the x's and setting those equal. So I multiply 4 times x, and that has to be equal to negative 9 times negative 6. And 4 times x has to be equal to positive 54. Divide both sides by 4, and you get an x value of 13.5. And yes, it's okay to get a decimal. Don't get them all the time, but it is okay to have a decimal in your answer choice. I hope this helps. Again, if you get started on your homework and things are not making sense, watch the second video. It's not my video, it's Gina Wilson's video, but I watched the whole thing. It's a very good explanation of all the odd numbered problems on your homework. So if you need it, watch it, and good luck. And if you have any questions that you can't figure out, just put a star by them and ask me about it when I come back on Friday. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you Friday. Bye now.